Okay, guys. Hi, I'm back. So here's what we have. I've got this. I wanted to do this demo as promised for this 1.2 blog capture and processing. So let's take a quick look at that. Okay, and okay, here we go. So shoot or scan three items. Transfer the images to your computer and open the images in Photoshop. Okay, easy enough, right? So that's the um, the image gathering, image collection process. Okay, so you're either going to shoot or scan it, or scan. It's your choice. Okay, I just need digital images. The first part of this requires that you do some um, color correcting. So let me continue on. Once you transfer the images to your computer, you open the images in Photoshop and correct the images color casts with the color balance and auto color tools. I'll talk about those in a second. Then add a levels adjustment layer and correct the tonal range using the histogram as your guide. Okay, so what are we going to do here? So we need to. All right, first of all, you're going to say, but I shoot my own images and I color correct them on board, so I don't usually need to color correct my images, or whatever the case may be. I'm going to say right now, with 100% certainty, that you will probably, 100% certainty, you probably, I'm going to say right now, with a good percentage of certainty, that you will not ever get a image in your professional career that doesn't need to be adjusted, color corrected or tonally corrected. That includes images from professional photographers, and let me tell you why. Because it depends on if you have an in-house photographer that supplies you with the images. Absolutely, they'll be ready to go, but that's because the in-house photographer would have done all of the adjustments, him or herself. As a designer, you'll get all sorts of images throughout your career that you have clients wanting you to use in pieces. I can tell you that I've never had one image, including stuff that I've purchased online from stock agencies, including images I've shot myself or images that clients have provided me with. Never once had an image that I didn't have to color correct. So, pretty good assumption to say that this is a pretty critical process in graphic design. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Let me show you. Okay, the color cast thing is like this, and I'm going to show you. Well, first of all, let me show you this. So it's right here. I just have this text right here. It's just lifted right from the blog, so it's the exact same thing. So I'm going to go to Photoshop with this guy so we can just keep that in for reference. Let me go to Photoshop, and I've got something lined up here, and this is an image that has a pretty bad color cast. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix this the ways that and explain why you do or do not do a couple of things. Okay, so you have your images. The first thing it says, correct the images color cast with color balance or auto color tools. Well, let's take a look at that. Let's go to Photoshop, and if we go to Photoshop, and you can't see this because it's up top, but in Photoshop, I'm going to go to image and the drop down image adjustments, and I'm just going to go over to color balance. Okay, and here's your color balance tool, so you can see and look and see where these areas are in your image, and you can adjust. Like, I think this thing has too much red, so we're going to bring some of that red out of there. It's going to a little more of that red out of there, and it's got to have some yellow in it to bring some of that green and okay, so there's kind of my interpretation. Okay, but let me say okay, and let me show you what happens. Okay, so there's what we have. Let's go to our layers. I'm going to go to Window, Layers. Whoops, go to Window, Layers. And here's my layer. Here's my back. Come on now. Okay, so here's my background layer, and I just did that adjustment, but I'm stuck here because there's no way to go back. All right? And your traveling mantra in Photoshop is to always maintain editability. Okay, so keep that going, keep that ticking all the time while working in Photoshop. So, is this piece editable? No, it's not. So what we can do, let me show you how to do this and keep it editable. Editable, not edible. So, okay, so let me just go back here. I'm just going to image, revert. I'm sorry, I'm going to go file, revert, so we can get rid of those changes and go back to where we were. And let me show you how to do the same thing with adjustment layers, which are superior, because you'll see why in a second. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to just go down here, and when I hover over that, it's going to say create, fill, new, or adjustment layer. And I want an adjustment layer. I want to do everything in Photoshop in adjustment layers. So let me click that, and let me find that color balance. That's what we were looking for, that color balance. So let's find that, and there's that tool over there that we just saw. So now I can do those adjustments. Okay, there's that cyan and red. There's that green, and there's that yellow, and you can hear my dogs barking. Sorry about that. That happens occasionally. Okay, so here we have this tool again, and we just looked at that tool. What's the difference? Let me show you. The difference is if I open my layers panel, okay, here it is right here, and you can see I've got this layer right here, and this is called an adjustment layer. So I can do all those adjustments, all those cool, groovy adjustments I was doing, right? And get that look I wanted. But now, as you see, okay, I can go like this. I can say, if I save this thing, and I can say, all right, if I save this file and don't flatten, I can show it to my client or whatever, and I can say, okay, and the client says, no, I don't like that, or one of my teammates says, no, I don't like that. So what do? We're not stuck. Watch, I turn that thing off, and we're back to square one. I turn it back on. It's still there. We can still make adjustments. It's a live layer. It's an adjustment layer. So that's why it is superior to use adjustment layers as opposed to just going to image drop-down adjustments. Okay, in this case, go to that color balance tool. Okay, so so now that's that color balance, and that's why you would choose to do that with an adjustment layer. Now we also have something called a auto color, and let me show you that. Here's the same image again, and I'm going to go to File, Revert again. Okay, so and I'm going to take this image, and again, up into Photoshop, drop down, I'm sorry, the Photoshop options bar across the top, just come down here to back to the image and go to adjustments, and you'll see as you go to this image adjustments, you're going to have all of these different adjustments that I showed you before, but right below the adjustments you have these auto settings: auto tone, auto contrast, auto color. So if I click auto color here, and you can see it does a pretty good job. So it's a good idea to always start there in auto color. Okay, and then and you can see how that goes. If it goes great for you, that's awesome. You're done. If you don't like it, if your client doesn't like it, you can always well, you can't, because once you go to auto color, it's not an adjustment layer. So if you go auto color, auto contrast, any of those, you're stuck. Let me show you a way around that. Once again, go to File, Revert. That's going to save this back to the way it was. Now, I want to show you a way to color correct this image, and it's actually a really great trick, and it has to do with the histogram. But the first thing I'm going to do to show you the histogram is I'm going to show you an adjustment layer. Excuse me. I'm going to show you an adjustment layer. Okay, right here. Where's my layers panel? Layers, adjustment layer, right there. Boom. And then I'm going to say, okay, anyways, so as I was saying, with this guy, we want to do an adjustment layer, but I want to show you something. Instead of coming down here, I want to open the adjustments panel. So I'm going to come up here to my Photoshop options across the top here, and I'm going to go to Window, and there's a panel called adjustments. And if I open that guy, here it is right here. And you can see these different adjustments here. What I want to do is I want to go right over here to levels. Okay, that'll here create a new levels adjustment layer. So I always start here to tonally address and also color correct an image. To tonally correct it, you can see this is the histogram, okay? This is the light end of the histogram, this is the dark end. So you can see that we're missing pixels at the light end. So the first thing we need to do to tonally adjust this, tonally, is to pull that slider to the left, okay? Then from there you can do your color adjustments, because as you can see, it's now tonally corrected. So if I go to my layers, window layers, I can see my adjustment layer. There's my levels adjustment layer. Let me show you something else. Now, to take this a bit further, I want to show you this panel right here. This is the RGB panel. Okay, we can color correct in this RG panel, and this is by far the best way to color correct a troublesome image. What we just did there, we're going to do that in the different channels. So let me show you this. Okay, let's go to the red channel. Okay, and I want you to see, now here's the same thing. We want to pull that in because you want these sliders to meet this graph where the graph starts or ends. So let's pull that guy over. Okay, that's the red channel. Don't look at this. It's going to look nasty right now. Let's go to the green channel. Look at all those missing pixels there. Let's get over there. Okay. Let's go to the blue histogram. Let's go like this. Okay, and look at that image. That is gorgeous. I mean, we still have a little bit too much green. So I think we can pull back on the green channel a little bit. There we go. So look at now, the beautiful thing about adjustment layers is, of course, we can turn them right off. Okay, so there's a great way to do troublesome images. Let me show you one more just to prove to you that I'm telling the truth. Here's a really nasty image. Okay, so what are we going to do here? First thing we're going to do is go to up across the top, go to Window, go to Adjustments, and we're going to open our Adjustments layer. Mine already is, so it's right here. And I want to go back to that Levels adjustment. Okay, I want to click that guy. There it is. All right, we can see this guy has some really dark pixels somewhere, as we can see right here. And those are going to be that tree right there. So we're going to kind of ignore that right now. And if we pull that dark in, we're going to put some of the shadow back into this image, okay? See that? Okay, not too much. But look at the snow and the mountains. See how it darkens up a little bit? Okay, that's the RGB composite channel. Next, let's go to the red channel and see where we're at. Well, it certainly looks like we can pull that. And remember that clump right there? It's that tree. Okay, let's go to the green channel. Don't look at the image, guys. Let's go to the blue channel. Okay, don't look at the image, guys. Then the RGB. You're going to see after you make your adjustments, the RGB is going to be kind of messed up a little bit. Okay, so, and you can work with those sliders until you get this to be satisfactory to your liking. Okay, now I want to go back up here to the RGB composite because I think that we went a little bit too dark. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back to the blue channel. And I want to pull back on some of that blue. Okay, now look at that. That's looking like something that we can certainly use. Let me get rid of this guy here. Okay, get a layer. So that's looking a little more, okay, look at the first image. Without the adjustment, it's unusable. You can't use it. And then with the adjustment, we still have some work to do, but we are definitely getting there, adding a lot more tone and a lot more color back in the image. So those are two ways other than the other first ways I showed you. So there you have it, folks, and that should get you through the blog. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Thanks, guys.